Hi everyone. My name is Chase Taylor, and our genre is drama. So I'm going to be reading you the beginning scene, the first scene, the beginning part of it from A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. So I'm going to share my screen so you all can read along with me. A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. And so it was I entered the broken world to trace the visionary company of love, its voice an instant in the wind, I know not whether hurled, but not for long to hold each desperate choice, the broken tower by Hart Crane. Scene 1. The exterior of the two-story corner building on a street in New Orleans, which is named Elysian Fields and runs between the L and N tracks and the river. The section is poor, but unlike corresponding sections in other American cities, it has a raffish charm. The houses are mostly white frame, weathered gray, with rickety outside stairs and galleries and quaintly ornamented gables. This building contains two flats, upstairs and down. Faded white stairs ascend to the entries of both. It is first dark of an early evening in May. The sky that shows around the dim white building is a peculiarly tender blue, almost a turquoise, which invests the scene with a kind of lyricism and gracefully attenuates the atmosphere of decay. You can almost feel the warm breath of the brown river beyond the river warehouses with their faint redolence of bananas and coffee. A corresponding air is evoked by the music of Negro entertainers at a bar room around the corner. In this part of New Orleans, you are practically always just around the corner, or a few doors down the street, from a tinny piano being played with the infatuated fluency of brown fingers. This blue piano expresses the spirit of the life which goes on here. Two women, one white, one colored, are taking the air on the steps of the building. The white woman is Eunice, who occupies the upstairs flat. The colored woman and neighbor, for New Orleans is a cosmopolitan city where there is a relatively warm and easy intermingling of races in the old part of town. Above the music of the blue piano, the voices of people on the street can be heard overlapping. Two men come around the corner, Stanley Kowalski and Mitch. They are about 28 or 30 years old, roughly dressed in blue denim work clothes. Stanley carries his bowling jacket and a red-stained package from the butcher's. They stop at the foot of the steps. Give me 1 second. Stanley bellowing, "Hey there, Stella baby." Stella comes on the first floor landing, a gentle young woman about 25 and of a background quite different from her husband's. Stella mildly, "Don't holler at me like that." "Hi, Mitch." Stanley, "Catch." Stella, "What?" Stanley, "Meat." He heaves the package at her. She cries out in protest but manages to catch it. Then she laughs breathlessly. Her husband and his companion have already started back around the corner. Stanley calling after him, "Stanley, where are you going?" Stanley, "Bowling." Stella, "Can I come watch?" Stanley, "Come on." He goes out. Stella, "Be over soon." To the white woman, "Hello, Eunice, how are you?" Eunice, "I'm all right. Tell Steve to get him a poor boy sandwich because nothing's left here." They all laugh. The colored woman does not stop. Stella goes out. Colored woman, "What was that package he threw at her?" She rises from the steps, laughing louder. Eunice, "You hush now." Negro woman, "Catch that." She continues to laugh. Blanche comes around the corner carrying a valise. She looks at a slip of paper, then at the building, then again at the slip, and again at the building. Her expression is one of shocked disbelief. Her appearance is incongruous to this setting. She is daintily dressed in a white suit with a fluffy bodice, necklace, and earrings of pearl, white gloves, and a hat, looking as if she were arriving at a summer tea or cocktail party in the Garden District. She is about 5 years older than Stella. Her delicate beauty must avoid a strong light. There is something about her uncertain manner as well as her white clothes that suggests a moth. Eunice. What's the matter, honey? Are you lost? Blanche, with faintly hysterical humor. They told me to take a streetcar named Desire and then transfer to one called Cemeteries and then ride 6 blocks and get off at Elysian Fields. Eunice. That's where you are now. Blanche. At Elysian Fields? Eunice. This here is Elysian Fields. Blanche. They mustn't have understood what number I wanted. Eunice. What number are you looking for? Blanche wearily refers to the slip of paper. 632. Eunice. You don't have to look no further. Blanche, uncomprehendingly. I'm looking for my sister, Stella Dubois. Mrs. Stanley Kowalski. Eunice. That's the party. You just did miss her, though. Blanche. This can be her home? Eunice. She got the stairs down here. I got the up. Blanche. Oh, she's out? Eunice. You noticed that bowling alley coming around the corner? Blanche. I'm not sure I did. Well, that's where she's at, watching her husband bowl. There is a pause. You want to leave your suitcase here and go find her? Blanche. No. Negro woman. I'll go tell her you come up. Blanche. Thanks. You're welcome. She goes out. Eunice. She wasn't expecting you. Blanche. No, not tonight. Eunice. Well, why don't you just go in and make yourself at home till they get back? Blanche. How could I do that? Eunice. We own this place, so I can let you in. She gets up and opens the downstairs door. A light goes on behind the blind, turning it light blue. Blanche slowly follows her into the downstairs flat. The surrounding areas dim out as the interior is lighted. The 2 rooms can be seen, not too clearly defined. The one first entered is primarily a kitchen, but contains a folding bed to be used by Blanche. The room beyond this is a bedroom. Off this room is a narrow door to the bathroom. Eunice defensively noticing Blanche's look. It's sort of messed up right now, but when it's clean, it's real sweet. Blanche. Is it? Eunice. I think so. So you're Stella's sister? Yes. Wanting to get rid of her. Thanks for letting me in. Eunice. Por nada, or as Mexicans say, por nada. Stella spoke of you. Blanche. Yes? Eunice. I think she said you taught school. Blanche. Yes. Eunice. And you're from Mississippi, huh? Blanche. Yes. Eunice. She showed me a picture of your home place, the plantation. Blanche. Belle Reeve? Eunice. A great big place with white columns. Blanche. Yes. Eunice. A place like that must be awful hard to keep up. Blanche. If you'll excuse me, I'm just about to drop. Eunice. Sure, honey. Why don't you sit down? Blanche. What I meant was I'd like to be left alone. Eunice. I'll make myself scarce in that case. Blanche. I didn't mean to be rude, but Eunice, I'll drop by the bowling alley and hustle her up. She goes out the door. Blanche sits in a chair very stiffy with her shoulders slightly hunched and her legs pressed close together and her hands tightly clutching her purse as if she were quite cold. After a while, the blind look goes out of her eyes and she begins to look slowly around. A cat screeches. She catches her breath with a startled gesture. Suddenly, she noticed something in a half-opened closet. She springs up and crosses to it and removes a whiskey bottle. She pours half a tumbler of whiskey and tosses it down. She carefully replaces the bottle and washes out the tumbler at the sink. Then she resumes her seat in front of the table. Blanche faintly to herself, I've got to keep hold of myself. Stella comes quickly around the corner of the building and runs to the door of the downstairs flat. Stella calling out joyfully, Blanche! For a moment they stare at each other. Then Blanche springs up and runs to her with a wild cry. Blanche, Stella, oh Stella, Stella, Stella for star. She begins to speak with feverish vivacity as if she feared for either of them to stop and think. They catch each other in a spasmodic embrace. Blanche, now then, let me look at you. But you don't look at me, Stella. No, 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 not till later, not till I've bathed and rested. And turn that overlight off. Turn that off. I won't be looked at in this merciless glare. Stella laughs and complies. Come back here now. Oh, my baby Stella. Stella for star. She embraces her again. I thought you had never come back to this horrible place. What am I saying? I didn't mean to say that. I meant to be nice and about it and say, oh, what a convenient location and such. Ha, ha, ha. Precious lamb. You haven't said a word to me. Stella, you haven't given me a chance to, honey. She laughs but glances at Blanche a little anxious. Blanche, well, now you talk. Open your pretty mouth and talk while I look around for some liquor. I know you must have some liquor on the place. Where could it be, I wonder? Oh, I spy, I spy. She rushes to the closet and removes the bottle. She's shaking all over and panting for breath as she tries to laugh. The bottle nearly slips from her grasp. Stella, noticing. Blanche, you sit down and let me pour the drinks. I don't know what I've got to mix with. Maybe there's a Coke in the icebox. Look and see, honey, while I'm... Blanche, no Coke, honey, not with my nerves tonight. Where is Stella? Stanley? Bowling. He loves it. They are having a found some soda tournament. They're having a found some soda tournament. Blanche, just water, baby, to chase it. Now don't get worried. Your sister hasn't turned into a drunkard. She's just all shaken up and hot and tired and dirty. You sit down now and explain this place to me. What are you doing in a place like this? Stella, now Blanche. Blanche, oh, I'm not going to be hypocritical. I'm going to be honestly critical about it. Never, never, never in my worst dreams could I picture. Only Mr. Edgar Allan Poe could do it justice. Out there, I suppose, is a gal-haunted woodland of where? She laughs. Stella, no, honey, those are the Ellen tracks. Blanche, no. Now, seriously, putting joking aside, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you write to me? Honey, why didn't you let me know? Stella, carefully pouring herself a drink. Tell you what, Blanche. Blanche, why you had to live in these conditions. Stella, aren't you being a little intense about it? It's not that bad at all. New Orleans isn't like other cities. Blanche, this has got nothing to do with New Orleans. You might as well say, forgive me, blessed baby. She suddenly stops short. The subject is closed. Stella, a little dryly, thanks. During the pause, Blanche stares at her. She smiles at Blanche. Blanche, looking down in her glass, which shakes in her hand. You're all I've got in the world, and you're not glad to see me. So that's the end section of what I've picked to read. Now I'm going to go over the literary devices in this portion of scene 1. So the first I'm going to go over is symbolism. And I have picked 4 different ways that Tennessee Williams used symbolism in this section. So the first is Elysian Fields, which is the street that Stella lives on. And in Greek mythology, Elysian Fields translates to the final resting place of the heroic or virtuous. To me, this is the symbolic resting place for Blanche. And if you read the entire play or drama, you'll understand what I mean by that this is the last place Blanche goes. So another one was Blanche was told to take a streetcar named Desire. This symbolizes that Blanche has ridden Desire to the end of the road and is at rock bottom before reaching her destination, her sister's place. And then in the quote, her delicate beauty must avoid a strong light. This symbolizes she stays away from the light to conceal her past and who she really is and how fragile she truly is. You'll start to notice this more throughout the drama. She never wants to be seen in direct light. And then also in the beginning of this scene, it talks about the blue piano, and the blue piano expresses the spirit of life in this neighborhood that Stella lives in. The next literary device is foreshadowing. During Eunice's questions, when Blanche first arrives, and Eunice is kind of grilling her, not in a mean way, but in a neighborly way, Blanche immediately becomes nervous at the mentioning of her past due to the foreshadowing revelation where Stanley, towards the end, figures out why Blanche is there, that she was fired, not taking a leave, and losing the home, Belle Reve. As you notice, she was just giving her one-word answers, yes, yes, yes. She didn't want anything to do with answering. The next example of foreshadowing in this part of the text is comparing her uncertain manner to a moth. This foreshadows her flightiness. And during the play, you start to see that more and more, that she just is constantly wanting to run away from her past, from her feelings, from her true identity. And even Stella brings that up, that even as a child, she was always flighty. And then in the next example of foreshadowing, when Stanley throws that package of meat at Stella, it foreshadows Stanley's true sexual desire, and his abusive behavior, not just towards Stella, but towards everyone, chucking things at his wife and this, that, and the other. So the next example, or the next literary device, is irony. And Blanche Dubois in French. Blanche means white woods or purity. And Blanche is far from that. You start to learn that throughout the drama, that this is completely ironic that her name means that, because she's in fact quite the opposite. And then for imagery, you have the opening scene, where, I'll read it again, where you start to get the true feeling of this neighborhood, this city in New Orleans. It is first dark of an evening early in May. The sky that shows around the dim white building is a peculiar tender blue, almost a turquoise, which invests the scene with a kind of lyricism and gracefully accentuates the atmosphere of decay. You can almost feel the warm breath of the brown river beyond the river warehouses, with the faint redolence of bananas and coffee. A corresponding air is evoked by the music of Negro entertainers at a bar room around the corner. In this part of New Orleans, you are practically always just around the corner. A few doors down the street from a tiny tinny piano being played with the infatuated fluency of brown fingers. This blue piano expresses the spirit of the life which goes on here. This is chock full of imagery because you have sights, smells, how you feel, sounds. It's just everything that puts you in that first scene, where Blanche is going, where Stella and her husband live. Now for the next portion, we have our higher order thinking questions, our text dependent questions. And I'm going to read these. I also put them in the slides, and please just respond in the discussion post and tell me what you think it is. There's no right or wrong answer to this. That's what I love about drama. Each person can have their own interpretation of what it means, what the author wants you to feel, think. It's just whatever you want. For the first question I have, how does Blanche convey class differences during her honestly critical speech about Stella's apartment? And then how does Williams convey Blanche's nervousness in the text? For this one, there's a lot of different ways that that's done. So there are many different things that he specifically puts in there that shows that she's nervous to be there. I wrote these questions down in the slides, and I'll probably, whenever we post the discussion, I'll put the document of that play so you can refer back to it and read about it. But that's it. That's part of scene 1 of A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. I hope you all enjoyed.